Please put your palm together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Put your palms down. Good evening. So, most of you are just off work. This afternoon, I was having lunch with a group of devotees, and I got information that Singaporeans are very hardworking. They work till 7:30, 8:30 every day, a very long time. And the fact that you have to work that late and you still have to come over and listen to Dharma talk, and that's really, really wonderful. The content of today's talk, number one, how to train the mind to overcome mental afflictions and to achieve goals. If you were not here yesterday, what we were talking about yesterday is how to understand the mind, your own mind, and how the mind works. How does the consciousness in us work? We have 8 consciousnesses. We have the eye consciousness, ear consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and then the first 5, and then we also have the 6th consciousness, which is the mano consciousness, and then the 7. The mano consciousness is the managerial consciousness, and then the personal ego consciousness, and also we have the alaya consciousness. Raise your hands. Were you here yesterday? I just want to know, for those who were not here yesterday, raise your hands if you're not here yesterday. So you have to catch up, because yesterday we spent 2 hours to understand how the mind works. Before you solving the problems, you have to identify the problems. That's the reason why we spend a lot of time in trying to figure out how the mind works. Yesterday was the theory side, the philosophy side. Today is the practice side, how to practice it, how to apply it. Yesterday was just Buddhism. Today is applied Buddhism. Second, mental stabilization. We call it samatha, 止观, and the right introspection, we call it vipassana, 观. Meditation and satipatthana. Satipatthana is the 4 contemplations. Beware of emotional transfer. Third, the power of mantra and Buddha names chanting. The chanting is a kind of therapy. We call it the sound therapy. After learning about the nature of emotions yesterday, we should begin to learn how to deal with and overcome emotions. Most of us are working under pressures. Family pressures, job, your company, your business. Even in the society, there's a lot of pressure generated from society. Unwholesome mental afflictions are destructive in life. They are the causes of suffering. A lot of people talk about meditation. Meditation is one of the many methods that the Buddha told us. Meditation is not the only method for enlightenment, for nirvana. Meditation is one of the many. For example, 4 days ago, I was talking about chanting Nam Mô A Mì Tô Phật. There's 念佛法门. 念佛法门 is another method of the practice. But since a lot of people know about meditation, maybe I'll concentrate on the word meditation because we meditate. Actually, meditation is to calm down your mind first and then raise your level to visualize and increase the wisdom level so that you know how to solve the problems. What is meditation? Meditation is the process of taking our attention away from the world outside. The world outside, 我们说在佛经上面讲所缘境 externalities, and focusing it within ourselves. It is an ancient practice with many other names such as contemplation, concentration, focusing, or simply sitting in silence. Meditation is not necessarily sitting down with crossed legs in a special room, in a special location. It can be anywhere. Meditation can happen in your mind in anywhere, anytime, during walking, standing, sitting, lying, in any situation, because meditation is contemplation of the mind. In the Chinese languages, 心要禅, 坐要禅, 语默动静体安然. Walking is meditation, sitting is meditation. 你讲话的时候也是 meditation. 你不讲话 in silence 也是 meditation. 动静，你动的时候，你静的时候也是体安然，也是 meditation. Meditation is about the mind. You carry your mind, your thought all the time. Why meditate? Meditation benefits our physical and mental well-being. It has been scientifically proven to relieve stress, reduce blood pressure, and enhance concentration, bring us joy and happiness, fleeting happiness, of course. And there's no such thing as permanent happiness, and help us calmly deal with life challenges. However, the most important reason to meditate is to become spiritually aware and realize our existence at a transcendental level. The Buddhist teaching helps us to understand our mind, still it, put it under control, how to manage your own mind, and guide it towards nirvana, or guide it towards enlightenment, a state that is awakened from the dream of existence. Actually, we are living in the dream of existence. 人生如梦. We are in the dream of existence, but we don't know about it. And attain Anuttara Samya Sambuddhi. Since we always meditate silently, let's go a little bit on silent meditation. Meditation is in two parts. One is stabilization, the other is introspection. Stabilization is 止 is stop your wandering thought. Know where your wandering thought is. 止 观 is after you stop with your wandering thought, then you raise your conception level to a higher level in which to venture into the wisdom of it. In other words, you analyze it. As we go on, you will know what do we mean by introspection. Stabilization, the object of concentration could be many. Some people concentrate on a pool of water, on a candle flame, but the Buddha's method in many sutras is that the object of concentration is the breath, a breath concentration. Why do we use the breath? We'll explain it later. Focus on the in and out breath. 出入息，因为禅坐很多方法，也有参念佛是谁？高敏是我们常常，我们也是临济宗的。高敏是我们唱的是念佛是谁？参话头。We meditate on the koan, meditate on a sentence. Now, but what we're talking about here, we meditate on the breath, concentration on the breath. Vipassana, the four foundations of mindfulness, 视念处观，我们用视念处来观。Contemplation of the body, concentration of feeling, concentration of the mind, and contemplation of mind impressions. 观身不净，观受是苦，观心无常，观法无我。 Usually we just memorize these terms without knowing what they mean. 思念处很重要，尤其是小乘的佛法，他们天天修思念处。思念处是很根本，是非常重要的。我们今天晚上我们就拿思念处来做一个解释的根据。因为meditation you can involve in a lot of many other ways. But now we are using 思念处 and our externality 所缘境，每一个禅坐都有所缘境的 externalities. You use an object to fix your concentration on. You focus on that object, and then you won't think of many other objects. Because our thoughts are always wandering in every direction like a monkey. The thought is monkeying all the time. Like a monkey on a tree with a lot of branches. One branch is greediness, one branch is anger, one branch is hatred, ignorance, jealousy, you name it. Unlimited names. So the monkey is always hopping from one place to another. Now, stabilization is let the monkey stay put. Don't let the monkey jump all over the place. Stabilize your mind 是止是顿除妄念为止，把你的 wandering thought, watch it and calm it down. Because if you wander away, for example, if you wander away into greediness of wealth, of reputation, wander away in anger, in jealousy, then it's not under your control. Right now, what we're talking about in meditation is how to manage your own mind. Do you know how to manage your own mind? If you cannot manage your own mind, how can you manage your family? How can you manage your company? How can you manage your job? You have to understand yourself first, how you think. This is what we're doing tonight. Okay, so stabilization, the first part. The second part is introspection. And what is stabilization? What is introspection? As you listen on, you will have a clear insight of what it is all about. We have to go by step. And then we say how to meditate. Focus on the breath. The stabilization is focused on the breath. And then for vipassana, which is the introspection, let go of desultory thought. Our thoughts are desultory, wandering all over the place. But now, you don't do that. You break the habitual perpetuation of attachment. Why are your thoughts wandering? Because you attach to them. You attach to your own ego. It's an egotistic attachment. It's habitual. Don't blame it. You've been habitually attaching to your ego and exercise your ego in every aspect of life. That's why we are born with it. Now, as far as focus on breath is concerned, present moment awareness is very important. A lot of teachers of meditation, you get into YouTube, they say, here and now. You meditate here and now. That is you. What is here and now? What is the most here and the most now? Your breath is the most here and the most now. Because you cannot live without your breath. What is here? Your breath is here. What is now? Your breath is now. So when you're meditating, you're not meditating yesterday. You're not meditating tomorrow. You can be meditating on a clock, on a candle flame, on a pool of water. But now you use your own breath, which is very important, very keen to it. Your breath is the most present moment because it always exists. It follows you wherever you go and as long as you live. So that's why you're using your breath. Some people say, well, how do we meditate? What object we use to focus on? Focus on your breath. It is easy to remember and to control. That's the reason why the Buddha in Satipatthana tells us to use the breath as the object to focus. In the future, you don't ask any more question as to where should I put my mind to when I'm meditating. Put your mind to the breath. It is the most akin to you as a focus object. It is the closest to you. Why don't you use what is the closest to you? It is the most important to you because your life depends on that breath. You live in between two breaths. If you stop breathing, one breath, you're gone. So you know that's a very important object. Why don't we use the important object as suggested by the Buddha as an object of focus? Yeah, if you focus on your breath, okay, that's stabilization. Let go of desultory thought. Break the habitual perpetuation of attachment. Why let go? The breath deals with the present, the past, and future must be dealt with by letting go. What is the time dimension in Buddhism? The past, the present, and the future. The present is the breath. It's the most present moment. And how about history? Yesterday, day before, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You learn to let go of it. You can learn from it, but you don't attach to it. People say, how should I should not let go of experiences of yesterday. Yeah, but let go of the unwholesome emotions. Let go of the past. People cannot let go. So your sixth consciousness deal with letting go of the past and don't worry about the future. Some people worry about, will I get sick? If I'm sick, will I recover? By worrying would not make you recover. And they say, you're sick now, you always worry, am I going to die? I'm sick, what happened? You think by worrying about it, you can recover? But we habitually worry. It's natural to you. But by worrying, it won't help you any bit. It would actually harm you because you worry too much, you get a phobia. So, the past and the future. Your breath cannot deal with the future. Only your mind can deal with the future. You don't worry about the future. You can plan for the future, but you don't worry about it. You use budget for the future, but you don't worry about it. Halt the habitual egotistic self-thinking pattern that is causing suffering. Now, it sounds simple. Focus on your breath and let go of desultory thoughts of emotions, passions, and greediness, and hatred, and jealousy, anger. Let go of that. But it's not easy to let go. So if anybody is suffering from depression, you tell him to let go, he would think that you are really not helping him. Because letting go is 2 words, but it's difficult. But now, we learn how to let go. Tonight, we learn how to let go, but actually using a procedural approach of letting go, not just talking about letting go. Now, meditation, if we talk about let go, we say the eyes interact with matter. The eyes can see objects. I can see you, I can see the clock, I can see this wooden fish. The eyes interact with an object. But in meditation, I don't attach my thought to it. I'm letting go of it. Maybe I'll close my eyes. I slowly close my eyes. I'm not going to see. No objects will attract my attention because I slowly close my eyes. But then I have an internal eyes too, because in my mono consciousness, in my sixth consciousness, I can see yesterday. I can bring yesterday's events to now. Yesterday's experience to now, and I can still think about it. So indirectly, I'm still watching it. But then, your mind, your eyes can let go because you close it. How do you let go of your mind thinking, not just the eyes? That will be taken care by introspection. So focusing is not enough. You can focus, but if you don't know how to introspect, then you cannot let go. Now, your eyes, you don't see anything, so letting go of the objects. Your ears, letting go of the sound, because when you're meditating, you're not turning on the music. Maybe there's no sound around. You're letting go of the sound. Your nose, no more smell. But there may be some fragrance of your incense burning. But as long as you get used to it, whenever the fragrance coming up from the incense, it reminds you that I am meditating. So that fragrance still reminds you to the meditation. And then your tongue, taste, you're not eating anything. You're not tasting the flesh and blood of animal. You're not eating. You're letting go of that. Your body, touch, the interaction of the internal organs. Your body is interacting with air, so you didn't let go of the breath because you use your breath as the externality, as the object. So that's the only thing you don't let go because you still don't let go of the breath. But surprisingly, if you really meditate, at a point, you even let go of your breath. Gradually, you don't know that you're breathing. You let go of everything. 那个时候啊，一念不生，一个念头都不升起。一念不生，什么生？一念不生，般若生。般若是什么？你的智慧生出来了。你一念都没有了，没有念头，没有念头怎么办啊？没有念头，那个智慧就来了。Your mind interact with what? Now, we know that eyes interact with object, which we call matter. Ears interact with sound. Nose interact with smell. Tongue interact with taste. And body, touch, which is your breath. And then the mind interact with thoughts. Because sometimes you focus on your breath. Sometimes you will lose your breath and you're thinking about many other things. But in this case, you learn how to get rid of your inner commentator. Everybody has a commentator inside. They personalize everything. They egotize everything. Everything, they perceive it in their own opinion. They look at everything with a self-egotistic spectacles. And now, break that habitual continuation of desultory thinking of the past and the future, attention on a present breath, live your present moment here and now. That's what we mean by here and now. Somebody asked me, oh, Reverend, what's the meaning of many meditators, that you are here and now? That's what it is. Here and now, because you only have the breath. You concentrate on your breath. Your attention is on your breath. You still need an object. In meditation, you still need an object to start with until that object does not even exist anymore. And then your manas. Manas is your ego consciousness. You let go of that. Only in and out breath exists. In other words, to subdue all your wandering thoughts by using your breath. Because when you focus on your breath, then no more focusing on any other things. You won't focus on greediness, hatred, jealousy, anger, arrogance. You don't focus on that anymore. In that particular meditation moment, you only focus on your breath. This is a method. This is only a method. This is not the final result. This is a method that leads you to peace of mind. Let's put it in very simple words. Lead you to peace of mind. So, what we do is introspection. Meditation is actually a mental therapy. It's a therapy itself. So many people discover that, after meditation I feel comfortable, because that's a mental therapy. Introspection, in the Sanskrit word, is vipassana satipatthana. How does one practice meditation in order to get rid of mental afflictions? When we talk about mental afflictions, we talk about all this, we mentioned it yesterday, when our mind is working, when our mind is interacting with externalities, actually 51 mental functions are simultaneously working in your mind. 51. 10 of them are objective. These are only housekeepers. I always give an example of a British Parliament. In the Parliament, there are ministers who just keep the house in order. They don't take sides. They're not good, they're not bad. Those are what? Those are 五变形,五别境. Attention, focus. In other words, those are ministers who clean up things. They don't take sides. But you need those. And then we have 26 unwholesome ministers. 26 emotional ministers in your mind, in our mind. 娇嗔狂, 放逸, 妒忌, jealousy, hatred, arrogance, ignorance. Many of these things work in your mind. 26 of them. We call them bad ministers or unwholesome ministers. But the parliament contains not just of the good ministers, of the bad ministers, also there are good ministers. There are 11 good ministers. 26个坏的心所，不好的心所。心所就是跟你的心同时活动的。你的心念一产生，这个心所就来了，贪心就来了，愚痴心就来了。26个这样的，我们说有根本烦恼、随烦恼、大烦恼、小烦恼，不止26。不过唯识学大概是讲26个烦恼，还有11个善的心所。11个善的心所是帮我们做好事的，所以你不是常常做坏事的。你的心每一个心念里面也有好的 ministers, 26 bad ministers and 11 good ministers helping you to perform, helping you to push the thoughts into action and speech. You understand what I mean? And then you have 4 indeterminate ministers. These 4 indeterminate ministers can be affected by all ministers. Sometimes they are good, sometimes they are bad. It depends on how you train these ministers. Because you are dominated by 26 majority, you only have 11 good ministers, which is a minority, and then you have 4, which is indeterminate. So that you get the 4 indeterminate into the 11, then you have 15. And if all the others are working good, then you are cleaning up your mind. So you need to know how your mind works. Sometimes when you do something really bad, you don't even know why you did it. Usually when people who committed murder, the defensive lawyer, the lawyer said, "Why did you do it?" Secretly, they asked the client, "Why did you do it?" I don't know. I just cannot control myself. Why couldn't he control himself? He didn't know his own mind. He could not manage his own mind. In Buddhism, the Buddha taught us how to manage our mind, not just about burning an incense and prostrating and chanting, not just that. How to manage your own mind towards enlightenment, towards nirvana, towards a better life. So the answer is one must meditate with the right introspection. We use the Satipatthana method. And we can go on like that. Now, right now, we are getting into the specifics of introspection. We know that in focus, we use the breath. In stabilization, we use the breath to stabilize it. It's just like you put a pill into a water to tranquilize so that the other dust and dirt settle down. You must let it settle down first. So don't ask any more questions about how to get my mind calm. How come when I'm meditating, I always have all kinds of thoughts? Because you don't have a good object of focus. You don't have a microscope. You don't have a lens in which you focus all the light into that spot and burn whatever is underneath it. You focus by using your breath. In and out breath. You can count it. Say, well, if I come in, I count 1. And some teachers said, don't count going out. You can either count going in as 1 or going out as 1. That if I'm counting my in breath, now I'm breathing in. In my mind, I said 1. I'm breathing out, I don't count. I'm breathing second time, 2. Out, I don't count. I'm breathing third. You count to 10, and then you go back to 1 again. That is counting. 六妙门里面 属水止观环境。The first part, even in 天台宗教我们怎么就是数 to count。天台宗的道理就是数息观嘛。You count your own breath and use that as an object to focus. Now you know how to focus. Whenever you get angry, first of all, you calm down by focusing on our breath. And that's the reason why even in the Western world, in America, in Canada, and all those psychologists, they say calm down by what? Going within. You calm down, you breathe, watch your breath, breathe in. That's how you calm down. But the Buddha said particularly, count your breath. Okay, count the in breath or the out breath. You don't count the in breath, you count the out breath. In breath, I don't count out, I count 1. In, I don't count out, I count 2. Some people are very good with in-breath counting, and some people are familiar with the out-breath counting, whatever you want to choose. You don't confuse it. When you come up to 10, you go back to 1 again. And sometimes when you count up to 5, you lost it because you were dreaming, you were tired, you were sleeping, you lose it. When you lose it, you go back to 1 again. When you wake up, sometimes after counting 6, you already dozed off to a dream, you dozed out. And then when you come back again, you start to count again. Don't be harsh on yourself. The monkey will always hopping from one tree to another. You put a small little chain on the monkey's neck. Don't choke the monkey though. Just when it jumps away, just pull it and let it stay put. You know how to calm down now. That's focusing. That is stabilization. But then, after stabilization, how do we introspect it? That is just to stabilize it. 这个只是止而已，没有观。止观嘛，天台宗是止观吗？现在我告诉你的只是止 to stop it, to stop your wandering thought, but how to introspect it? Introspection is regarding raising up your wisdom level, because you have to introspect with wisdom. Your conceptualization is go to a higher level, not just stopping it. Then you pull the monkey back and stay put, and then the monkey has to think about, why am I get born into this world? Why do I have to go through these sufferings? Why did I become a monkey? How come I'm so arrogant? How come I'm so sad? How come I'm so jealous? How come I have this anger? You conceptualize it in a higher level, not just stopping it, stopping your desultory thought. You have to think about it. The Buddha said you have to introspect. Now let's get into the introspection a little bit. Number 1 here at the bottom, a thought arises. You are sitting in here, you have a thought arises. What kind of thought? I don't know. Anxiety, fear, jealousy, hatred, depression? I don't know. All kinds. If you ask a psychologist, there's only a limited number of words that he can put on classification of our desultory thoughts. Our thoughts are weird. It goes into every direction. It doesn't matter what kind of thought. When the thought comes up, you have to realize it. You have to realize that thought comes up. What do we call it? In meditation, if you go on Google and check in meditation teacher, they say, be mindful. Right? It's a mindful. Be mindful. Actually, be mindful is not a good word. It's not a good translation. Because mindful, meditation is not to fill your mind with things. It's to get rid of things. How can we call it mindful? Not to fill up your mind. So, some meditators don't use the word mindful. They use introspection. You don't fill up your mind with things. You let go of it. Learning is to fill up your mind with things. I'm learning psychology, mathematics, geometry, literature. I'm putting in things in my mind. That is mindful. But in meditation, no. You get rid of them. 求学日增，求道越减。求道不是要我要观音菩萨，你给我什么好处？求道的人呢，就是舍掉，什么都不要的 ，let go。We cannot let go。我们还有争取吗？道心不再争取，道心去舍离舍去。老子是这样讲的，佛陀当然是这样讲的。那我们这个圣人老子的说：“为学日增，为道日减。”减就没有了，这个是无为了，减到心里面一点尘埃都没有了。There's not even the dust that I haven't let go. I'm towards wisdom, because you can reflect your own real nature. Right now, our nature is like a big mirror that is covered with all kinds of dirt, all kinds of dust. But that mirror, even though it is covered with all kinds of dirt and dust, has it lost its reflectability? You tell me. 菩提本没树，明镜日非台。本来无一物，何处惹尘埃？本来是那个自性本来没有这个尘埃的吗？这个尘埃是我们加上去的。所以我们when the thought arises, an emotion arises, anxiety, fear, hatred, worry, you watch on it, you introspect on it. 你就知道我现在坐在这里，我这一念落在何处？我这一念落在善处，我这一念落在恶处，我这一念落在不善不恶处。或者是我们讲得更清楚一点，我现在这个念头落在贪处，我这个念头落在嗔，落在贪嗔痴慢疑恶见骄喘狂。我们不知道我们那个念头落在哪里。我们第一就要我们这个念头，现在我要关心了，我什么都不做了，我现在我在家，今天我休息了。我要来一个 meditation. Meditation, 关心 is watch your own mind. Watch your own mind is an enjoyment. 关心是一种享受啊。为什么？我们看电影啊。电影，你看电影是看别人的 script. When you're watching a movie, you are watching the script written by a third person about a story. You are watching the script of a story written by somebody else. When you are introspecting, you are watching the script of your own production. Are you not interested in watching your own script? Why do you have to attach to other people's script? I always find that meditation is an enjoyment because now I'm watching how my mind works. Sometimes I may even go a little historical, watch how did I evolve into what I'm now. Maybe there's things that I should improve, maybe things I have done wrong. Maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. So meditation is a self-awareness of your own script. Who wrote your script? You know what a script is? When you do a movie, you have to write a script, right? A good movie, you have to pay millions of dollars for a good script. Our life have a life script. That script is written by you. Are you going to write a good script? You're going to write a fantastic script that will benefit all beings. You write a script that will benefit all the whole world. But some people write a script that hurt people, that cheated, that kill, that murder. That script, you can actually introspect it in your mind. You can plan for it. So a thought arises. You watch your own thought. You watch your own thought. Say, if you're arguing with your colleagues in a job, why do you do this? And you say, no, I didn't do it. No, if you didn't do this, I wouldn't have made a mistake. You just get into an argument, and then you scolded each other. You have a thought of anger coming up. Immediately, if you're a practitioner of meditation, you know, oh, I got to stop my thought. A thought of anger arises in me. So at that time, you better stop the argument. Go back to your own seat. When you go back to your own seat, you won't think about, I hate that fellow. He shouldn't have done something like this. No, you don't do that. You watch the thought. Why did my anger comes up? Why did I get angry? Why did I get angry? So you start to analyze your own thought. The second step is being aware of the rising of such thought. You have to have awareness. You must have that security guard in you that if a bad thought comes up, you watched it. Don't let it hurt you. Don't let that thought of anger hurt you and hurt whoever you're interacting with. So you watch the thought. That's stabilization number one. It sounds easy, right? It is extremely difficult. 曾经有一个唐朝的故事，柳窝禅师。白居易，你听过白居易吗？白居易 ，a poet in the Tang Dynasty。白居易经过，看见那个禅师在树上打坐，很大的树，他上面打坐。白居易说啊，大德啊，你在上面打坐很危险，非常危险。那么这个禅师说，白太守啊，危险的不是我啊，你是当官的，你更危险啊。Because you have wealth and reputation, but he is meditating. English-speaking people, you understand my story? I don't have to translate it into English. It's difficult. When I translate some poem into English, I really have to hesitate. I don't have an impromptu translator in my mind to translate all these poems. Okay, being aware of the rising of such thought, watch your own thought. Watch it. Don't watch other people's thought, your own. Because other people's thought you cannot control. Your own thought you can manage. Your own thought you can control. Third, watch the thought with the four introspection. Watch the thought with the four introspections. What are these four introspections? 身受心法. We'll go into detail. Watch the thought with the four introspection, and then what do? This is just an outline first. I'll tell you what are four introspections. If you cannot let go in the beginning, try to keep a silent mind and learn to accept it with understanding and tolerance. Don't yell back, don't scold back, don't fight. Maybe you leave the site for a little while, go back to your own seat and try to watch your own thought. Satipatthana is the cultivation of mental introspection to overcome mental afflictions, emotions. All right, let's get into more detail. What is the right introspection? Number one, a thought of emotion such as depression or anger arises in your mind. Everybody has that. You begin to feel unhappy or angry. That's what happened. And number two, immediately you are aware of the arising of such thought. You are the security guard in you. You must build up that security guard. Don't easily let out your temper. Build up that guard. Distance yourself away from it. Don't follow the thought. Whisper to yourself, this is a thought of depression or anger arising in me. I must not follow it. I'll let it go away. Can you remind yourself of that? 我现在这些念呢是嗔恨心，我这个嗔恨心我要把它放下。就是你要这个是什么？这个就是观心。A lot of people don't even know how to 观心. How does an average person respond to external environments? When something bad attacking him, emotions and passion, how do we usually respond? We respond at the same time with emotions too. He yelled at me, I yelled back. You respond with emotions. From now on, you don't respond with emotion. You respond with the right introspection. Would it help me by doing that? Yes, it helped you tremendously. It helps you to get out of trouble. It also helps you to build up your wisdom level, to build up your tolerance level. It will help you in every aspect of your life. It will help you to get a promotion. It will help you to become a better worker, a better family member, a better member of the society. So this is number 2. Did you get that in your handout? You may not, huh? You get that in the handout. And then you have number 3. Watch the thought with the 4 introspections. Number 1. That's how you think. Now, these thoughts make me uncomfortable. My heart is feeling the anxiety or anger, and it's beating faster and faster. I feel worried. I feel angry. I'll let go of the thought. Take a deep breath and try to relax myself. Because when that anger comes up, your body immediately feel it. 观身不净。不净什么意思？不净是不正常。不是有正念，不一定是不干净，不是不干净。你的愤恨起来了，这个不干净。你的骄狂、喘、恼、放逸起来了。你懒惰的心起来了，你贪的心起来了，这个就不净了。不是干净不干净，不 not clean， 你不干净，你的意念不干净。你观你的意念现在不干净。You introspect your body as impure. You're losing your purity. Because before the argument with your colleagues, you calm down before you argue. You get agitated. Then your body becomes impure. But you don't realize it. You just keep on egotistically and personalizing it. You don't realize. You don't realize how your 7 consciousness works, which I explained to you yesterday. What is your the 7th consciousness? That is your manas consciousness. That is the ego consciousness. That's been working in you, in me, for millions of years, millions of lives. And it's got a cumulative effect. So you think people can change easily? Very difficult. Is that mirror has been covered with millions of years of dust. You think you can get rid of it in 1 year? You have to practice. You have to practice, learn how to get rid of it. But don't worry. You have been practicing for many lives. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come here today. 我们一定有这个缘分。你没有学佛的缘分，你今天不会来。十方都是有缘人。诸法因缘生，诸法因缘灭。我佛大沙门常作如是说。未曾有一法不从因缘生。是故一切法都是空的。龙树菩萨的中观论就是讲，都是因缘 body. So in the first contemplation, you contemplate your body as impure. You're being attacked by these thoughts. You're being covered by this thought. Then what is the second? This thought of depression or anger is just a thought, a sensation of anxiety that has no substance in itself. I must let it go. This argument comes up is because some misunderstanding. Why do I have to perpetuate this misunderstanding? I'll back up a bit and look at it. Because I'm feeling bad right now. I have a high blood pressure. My heart is beating. I feel angry. My hormones is agitating. When your mind is switched on to the changes in your body, you start to forget about your anger. In other words, you are switching. You're letting go of that emotion and switch to another thought, which is, I'm feeling uncomfortable. I must calm it down. More than that, if I argue with my family members, my husband, my wife, my daughter, my son, both of us are suffering. Both of us, our bodies are suffering, our feelings are suffering. The third, this thought is only temporary, impermanent. It's not a 24/7, 24 hours per day and 7 days per week. It will go away. That anger sometimes will go away very quickly. It's not eternal. As a matter of fact, everything is changing. Nothing is not changing. 最大的无常是什么无常？死掉。一日无常到，方知梦里人嘛。万般带不去，唯有业随身。无常的意思就是死亡了。所以没有一件事是有常的。那么，如果是我们讲到这里啊，赶快修行啊！你很富有又怎么样啊？也要离开这个世间。如果是你富有的钱财是不法来的，哎呀，你很惨啊！你的果报啊，很惨的。人性现在越来越糟糕。Number 4, this thought is not me. I am not the thought. Neither am I the feeling. I must not let it affect me. Let it go. My anger is just a thought. How come this thought affects me? That's only a feeling. But why did I attach to my feeling? Some people attach to feeling and thought, and they would commit murder, harming, fighting, cheating. Cheating is a thought. But that cheater allows the thought to perpetuate into practical action. And it's punishable by law, finally. So what's your thought? If you have a good thought coming up, you can let it perpetuate it, linger the good thought, a thought of compassion, a thought of helpfulness. Then you can linger on that thought by rendering what you can offer. Some thought, you can let it linger. You can nurture it. If you nurture a good thought, that thought will flourish. It's like putting a seed in the soil, and then you have the thought of compassion. That thought will sprout. And then you're doing all kinds of good deeds. But still, the Buddha said, yes, a good thought will good result. We should perpetuate good thoughts. But then, it's not the ultimate way to go. Because when you have, for example, if you, in this life, you always have, you are a philanthropist. You donate a lot of money to outside, and you have a lot of people. And then your next life, you become very rich. Don't be jealous of billionaires, because they have cultivated their causes, and they realize they have cultivated all these causes. Now they have the effects coming up because they have done good deeds, and now they become a billionaire. Or usually the Buddhist sutra says that the reason why you are a billionaire, you are a very rich person, is because you contribute. You donate a lot in the previous lives. You give out. You give out, and this life you get back. 地藏经讲嘛，舍一得万报嘛。那么你前生你布施的好，你这一生你就富有了。但是当你富有的时候怎么办呢？你就开始做坏事了。当你很富有的时候怎么样啊？你是男的，有很多女来找你当朋友了，那你就犯戒了。当你很多钱的时候啊，你就开始很奢侈了。你开始你的生活很糜烂了，你的生活变得很坏掉了。And then in another life, you suffer poverty. So you're revolving around. And in the previous life, you were very tolerable. You have very good manners. You always are kind. And also, you don't infuriate people. And according to the sutras, this life, you look very handsome. You look very beautiful. Because in your previous life, you always treat people with a nice face. You always smile. You're always tender. And then automatically, according to sutras, just like you're a beautiful woman or you're a handsome man. But then if you're a beautiful woman, you also get into trouble. A lot of men will be after you, and if you are careless, you make a lot of mistakes. And then you in your next reincarnation, you become a very bad individual. So even doing good deeds is not the ultimate way to go. But still, good deeds are better than bad. So that we have to explore more in the future. Why do we have to go to the Pure Land? Why do we have? 为什么我们要念佛？你善事当然要做了。但是善，你做的最善很善的事，你是不会在五欲这个世界了，世界，你可能到世界了，你不在欲界了，你可能在无世界，你是天人了，你享受的寿命是千千万万年。当你的寿命，当你的福报享尽的时候，你还要下生人间，还在投胎，你不要在六道轮回里面投胎了，你要超越。You have to go beyond reincarnation.Don't reincarnate. If you always do good deeds, in your next life you'll be a good person, you're a beautiful person, handsome, rich. Then you always revolve in samsara, reincarnation. The Buddha said, get out of reincarnation. That's the ultimate way to go. So let's talk about these 4 contemplations now. 维摩居士有病，那个释迦牟尼佛就请文殊菩萨去问病，文殊菩萨就问维摩居士：当我们有烦恼的时候，我们怎么办呢？维摩居士怎么讲呢？提起正念。你有烦恼的时候，你提起你的正念。什么是提起这个正念呢？正念在哪里呀？ Get the right introspection, and then you say, where is your introspection? When you contemplate on these things, that's already introspection. You don't have to look for it.When you introspect the body as impure, when you introspect the feeling as suffering, when you introspect everything is impermanent, when you introspect everything is non-self, you are already in the right introspection. Don't look for it. Don't ask me what is the meaning of right introspection. When you do all these steps, you already are introspection. 春天来了，春天在哪里呀？你就在春天了，你还找春天吗？到处寻春不见春，蟒蛇踏破岭头云，归来偶过梅花树，春在枝头已时分呐。不要找春天呐，春天没有蜜的地方，当下就是春天呐，当下就是还找什么 ？You understand what I mean? If you understand, raise your hands.Only a few. How come? Yeah. Beware of emotional transfer. That's a very important concept. Beware of emotional transfer. What is emotional transfer? Emotional transfer is when someone redirects one's emotional feelings about someone or something onto somebody else.It is contagious. Do not transfer your emotion. Let go of your emotion instead through your mental practice of the right introspection. And to understand this is not easy. I need to give you an example. A man, and we call him Mr. Chen or Mr. Lee or whatever. A man was reprimanded by his supervisor in the morning.For some work mistakes that were not actually made by him. So he got angry. So Mr. Chen was really feeling frustrated because he got scolded by his boss early in the morning for some mistakes that he didn't do. One of his colleagues did it. So he was frustrated. And he was disgruntled for the whole day. He returned home with anger too.Because he's feeling angry. He has this emotion of anger. At dinner time, his wife, who is usually very gentle and very nice to her husband, served some food onto Mr. Chen's plate, very warmly, very tenderly. However, Mr. Chen still could not let go of his anger. He is still disgruntled, he is still angry because he got scolded by his boss. And he said, "Don't I have hands? You don't need to put the food on my plate. I'm telling you, your cooking is getting worse and worse. Because you're still angry. And then the son, we call him Jimmy, who used to be served by his mother during dinner time, asked, "Mom, I want to eat fish. Can you help me? Give me some fish." The wife then turned to Jimmy and angrily said, "Don't you have hands? Help yourself." Because the wife was disgruntled too. At this time, the cat, which was Jimmy's best playmate, wagged his tail under the table, and with anger, Jimmy kicked the cat out. Because Jimmy was angry, he was scolded by his mom. And then the cat was scared and rushing out of the house onto the road. A taxi driver was driven by, saw the cat running out. "Damn this cat." He turned the wheel, and then accidentally he hit a dog and then killed the dog. So that's the story. Can you see how the emotion was transferred? The emotion of anger and disgruntling transferred from Mr. Chen to his wife, and from his wife to the son, from the son to the cat. The cat gets scared, from the cat to the taxi driver, and it wind up the taxi driver killed the dog. That's what we call emotional transfer. When you're at home, how do you interact with your family members? Emotions are contagious. It's been proven by a lab test in psychology that an emotion can be contagious in as far as 10 minutes. If you put two persons into a room and somehow let them interact, the emotions can be contagious and spread from one person to another person. Don't spread your emotion. The COVID is bad enough. Don't spread your emotion to another person. Not to your wife, not to your son, not to your husband, not to your colleagues. Then how do we do it then? I'm emotional. You mean put on a mask? No, that doesn't fit for emotion. You still can yell out from the mask. Instead of having this emotion transfer, we have transferring emotion, we don't do it. Letting go of emotion, we can do it. Change your thought. Change your thought by using the four introspection. Calm down and change your thought. Don't spread your thought. So that's what we call change your transfer of emotion to letting go of emotion. Drop your emotion. How do we do it? By the right introspection. The four introspection method. It's very difficult. But you have to train yourself. Buddhism is about training, not about superstition, not about always kneeling and prostrating and getting more from Buddha, from Bodhisattva. You got to train yourself. Training is required in understanding, in letting go, in meditation. The Buddha teaches us, tells us that we can chant to still our mind too. Now, I've been talking for almost an hour and a half now. Today, I have a lot of questionnaires that I would like to take time to answer. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. I haven't finished this, but I'm not going into detail. When you're listening to anybody talking, especially in lecturing of Buddhism, you have to grasp the main point. You have to grasp the main point, just not just thinking about, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. You have to grasp the main point. The main point is, how do we not transferring your emotion, but letting go of your emotion? But what happens if we cannot do it? You can still the mind by using chanting. Chanting is an effective sound therapy that can stabilize and heal the mind, not just meditation. Chanting is a chanting meditation. Sitting down is a sitting meditation. Lying down is lying meditation. Walking is a walking meditation. Meditation is not just sitting. So this is different. This is what we call chanting meditation, which is a sound therapy. Let's go through it. The power of mantra chanting. During chanting, our psychological changes are occurring. Our nervous system is being affected by our own self-created sounds. The effectiveness of the power of chanting depends on focus, intention, repetition, vocalization, and visualization. From now on, you don't talk to your mom or your granddad or grandmom that you are superstitious. You're always chanting 南无阿弥陀佛，常常南无阿弥陀佛，常常观音菩萨，行吗？你不知道啊。She is practicing sound therapy on herself. Don't stop her chanting. Every chant from her mind is a healing effect back to the body. She feels satisfied. She feels happy. Don't blame your grandmom that you're superstitious. 念佛、念经、念咒啊，不是迷信，是最好的、最殊胜的音声治疗啊。It's a kind of sound therapy. You may not know about it. 为什么常常念南无阿弥陀佛啊？太殊胜，太好了。Then you got to know more about it. Focus. What do you mean by focus? You don't think about, you have no desultory thought. You just focus on 南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨。所有的咒语，所有的佛的圣号，都是不可思议神圣的音声治疗。Very effective. When chanting has become a habit with the persistent firmness of intent, the effect will come to you. What is intent? 我现在我妈妈病了，我要为她求观音菩萨，我念10万句观音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，南无观世音菩萨，这个就是音声治疗啊。观音菩萨是 Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva， 观音菩萨的心就好像一个大电台。Your mind is like a cell phone. You have to connect the cell phone to that cloud, 观音菩萨的 cloud. If you always chant 南无观世音菩萨, that means you're always linking on to her. She's waiting to help you. But many people will think this is superstitious. How come a sound can ask for some help? Yes. 100 years ago, nobody would believe that in Singapore, you can talk to someone in Canada. 经过大电波. Now you know that the frequency produces kind of power. So, Bodhisattva, the Buddha, are always waiting to help you. 我在前几天我说大势至菩萨念佛圆通章里面讲，忆佛念佛，当来现前必定见佛。你忆佛念佛什么意思啊？忆佛就是你念南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，你有时就忘了。忆的时候，那个意思就是你会忘记的。念就是念念不忘，你会忘记的，不要忘记不要紧，再念。我现在忘记了没有？再念。你常常念，不断的念观音菩萨，不断念南无阿弥陀佛，你的心与菩萨的心相应了。有没有这个事情啊？有。The Buddha and the Bodhisattva, they are just like your mom and dad. They want to help you. Your mom and dad only help you for one life. After one life, he's no more your mom and dad. But the Buddha and the Bodhisattva have been your mom and dad for millions of lives. But you need the contact. 他想念你，菩萨跟佛想念你。如果是你不想念佛菩萨，没有作用的。母子要产生这个效应，一定要大家想大家才可以的吗？他有心，你没有心，发不出这个因果出来。但是如果是你天天念它 ，every day you are calling that number, you have your cell phone, that number would get onto the clouds of 观音菩萨, and that cloud is much more powerful than the cloud they're using now. Much more powerful. Why don't you make use of it? Many, many years ago, people don't know that you have a cloud that you can use. Now I'm telling you, that cloud of the Buddha, that cloud of the Bodhisattva is 100 more times more significant, much larger than the cloud that you're using here. We have been doing it for millions of years now. What's the definition of the Buddha and the Bodhisattva? They want to enlighten all sentient beings. 佛菩萨就是为度众生，他度众生，他已经有一个电台，为什么你不念他的名字呢？他等着救你吗？ So chanting is very important. You have an intention, but that needs focus. 有一天念，有一天不念，念1分钟、5分钟。你打 WeChat、WhatsApp 是3个小时，每天你发在 WhatsApp 上面是几个小时，但是要你打电话给观音菩萨，1分钟的嫌多啊！你不知道有效果吗？你不是啦，从明天开始啊，你天天念佛，天天念佛菩萨的名字，你学怎么念咒，那个效应产生了，不可思议。佛经就是这样讲的，不过你不了解，现在你有个手提电话你就知道了。You have to link up with the right network. That network is 观音菩萨的 network， 还有文殊菩萨的 network， 还有普贤菩萨的 network. All these saints, they have network, but you need to connect with them. And how? Their names, the mantra. Intention. What do you have intention? If you have a real intention, what intention? Oh, my mom is very sick now. I'm worrying. Now I have an intention. I want to request Guan Yin Pusa to help. I want to request Bodhisattva to help my mom. My mom is really sick. You have an intention. Whenever you have an intention and you continue to do it, your intention will materialize into an effect. Whatever the mind can conceive and intend, the mind will achieve and do. That's scientific. That's modern psychology. Positive thinking too. If you have an intention to be successful and you pursue it, you never stop, success will come. You must have that intention. From now on, you say, I intend to chant mantra, to chant the names of Bodhisattva, that intention. From now on, I intend, after this life is ended, I don't want to carry on to the next samsara of reincarnation. I want to go to the Pure Land, where there's no death, there's no sickness, there's no aging. And in there, everybody is equal. Everybody is learning under the Buddha, until everybody become a Buddha. 这是西方极乐世界阿弥陀佛的净土。A world has been created in the West by Amitabha. It's just an imagination? No. It's a real location. But that location, after you become the Buddha, you don't need that location anymore. So it's still, that location is temporary. 西方极乐世界，当你成佛的时候，也是无常的，也是会变的。但是那个时候你已经成佛了，你的理解不同了。西方极乐世界是不是心里面有西方极乐世界就行了？为什么还有一个西方极乐世界？凡所有相，皆是虚妄。西方极乐世界也是假的，假的。从缘起性空来说是假的，它确确实实的存在，有的。但是从缘起性空来讲是暂时的。当你成佛的时候，你还执着了西方极乐世界吗？你没有成佛，你就西方极乐世界。当你成佛的时候，佛法不需要了。所谓佛法，即非佛法，是名佛法。自我说法与法欲者，法上应设，何方非法？你悟的时候啊，就不用佛法了。佛法是工具，带你开悟的。那个时候你不要执着了佛法，但是佛法是真的要的，没有佛法我们怎么开悟啊？你明白我讲什么？明的举手啊！哇，很多人明白。 但是你需要佛法，不要说观成法是说不要佛法。那我哪有说过不要佛法？佛法一定需要，没有佛法，我们很惨呢。So you need to have intention. Repetition. You have to repeat it all the time. The power comes from repetition. Don't do it for just 5 minutes. You walk step for 3 hours altogether in total, and you only chant for 5 minutes? No. You have to repeat it. The more you repeat, the more power it comes. When I was in my temple in Canada, I met different people. A lot of people from all over the world. Sometimes they want to have an interview, they want a meeting with me, and sometimes I don't have time for all of them. And I know that there was a woman, his son was studying at a university in Vancouver, and every summer she came to visit her son. And she always came to our temple, and she always wanted to see the abbot of the temple, the head of the temple. And at that time, somehow I had no chance to see her. So one day, in one summer, he was eating in a vegetarian restaurant inside our temple. We have a small little restaurant inside the temple. She was eating, and she requested to see me, to see the abbot. And at that time, I was just passing by. So I said, I can talk to her. So I turned around, and I was approaching that lady, and I started to sit down. And all of a sudden, I feel, I sense a glow of light around that lady. It's not a supernatural power. I just feel that this lady had a glow of very good light, an aura around this lady. And I started to talk to her, and after 1 or 2 hours, I know. She spent 5 hours per day chanting 大悲咒. 5 hours of chanting every day. One of the main reasons why he chanted every day for 5 hours is he wanted to make sure his son is safe. His son is studying. She loved his son so much that she chanted for her son, partially for her son. 5 hours of chanting every day. She's retired though. She's retired. She has a lot of time. She retired already. But a very different person. When you chant all the time, you repeat all the time, you have a special kind of energy. What is light? Light is energy. When you chant all the time, you glow up your energy. Your energy, everybody's energy is different. 你常常念佛、拜佛、诵经、诵咒，你的能量不同的，你的能量就完全是那个能量是非常好的能量啊。I have another. I have to start answering questions. So you need to repeat it all the time. Repetition. When you drill a well for petroleum, for water, don't drill this 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet until you get the water. Always have to repeat. The power comes from repetition. The longer it is, the better. Vocalization, because when you vocalize, your ears will listen to it. So you vocalize from your tongue, which is the tongue consciousness. Your ear consciousness, the hearing consciousness, at the same time perceive it. Of course, your mano consciousness, think about it. When your tongue, when your ears, and your brain, your mental consciousness, all concentrate in the chanting, all the other senses would be together. 为什么？为什么当我们念佛的时候，我们舌头念佛，耳根听佛，意根是想佛，那个时候你6根开始清净。为什么？因为最强六根里面最强的是哪一根？不是眼根，眼根只可以看前面，不可以看后面。所以《楞严经》讲它的功德有限。Your eyes can only see what is in front of you. Your eyes cannot see the back. So by that comparison, the eyes is not 100% good with merits. And how about your nose consciousness? Your nose consciousness only can smell through the medium of the air, of the molecules. So it's limited in its perception. However, ears can hear all direction, north, south, east, west, up and down. Your tongue can speak a language to be listened by all directions. And your mind, of course, to think about the past and the future and the present. It involves the three-dimensional of time. So the brain, the mental consciousness, the tongue consciousness, and the e-consciousness are really powerful. When they are powerful and you concentrate that chanting into these three by vocalizing it so that your ears listen it back, all the senses become purified. So you need to vocalize it. You don't need to yell though. You just chant enough so that you can listen back. You don't need to yell. That's vocalization. Visualization, if you can visualize, so much the better. If you visualize the Amitabha's face, so much the better. But if you don't visualize, if you have the four functions, that is good enough, that's effective enough. When chanting has become a habit with the persistent firmness of intent, the effect will come to you. The power of chanting. For thousands of years, mantra chanting has been successfully used by men as a powerful healing mechanism. Not only the Buddhist religion, the Hindu religion, all the others, Gregorian chanting of Roman Catholic, they all produce effect. The Hindu chanting all produce effect. Chanting is a sound therapy. So we don't underestimate any other religion. They all become the Buddha. They will be the Buddha in the future. They just go a different path. Don't criticize other religions unless the religion is really a strange, unacceptable religion. I never thought that only Buddhism is the best religion. No. They're only using different paths, different method. However, I treasure the path that I'm walking on. I myself think it's the most supernatural. It's almost like a perfect exposition of the Buddha. Many researchers have proven that the healing properties of sound, including ultrasound and consciousness-altering audible sound, can work gradually and gently to return the body's own vibration to their natural states. The highly focused and fast vibration used in ultrasound is now being used in hospitals to break up kidney stones. Ultrasound can break up kidney stones. You don't need to operate on your body. Sound vibration can lower heart rate variability, relax the brain wave patterns, and reduce respiratory problems. Certain sound helps to synchronize our fluctuating brain waves by providing a stable frequency which the brain waves can attune to. By using a repetition of arithmetic and frequency, we can harmonize our brain waves. So in mantra chanting, it is the frequency of the vibration that is being applied in the healing process. The frequency of vibration in sound. When you do a meditation, it's the frequency of consciousness. When you are chanting, it's the frequency of the sound. When you're meditating, it's the frequency of your consciousness, the mental. So when you are actually meditating and chanting at the same time, you are exercising not just the audible power, but also the mental power. What I've been talking about is just a summary. If I have to talk in detail, it takes many, many days. But I can only give you a cram course, and I hope that cram course will arouse your interest. Now you should know that chanting is beneficial. It's a lot of merits in chanting, and also meditation, and also how do you perceive Buddhism, the usefulness of Buddhism in your life. How can you change the well-being of your present life into a better well-being by applying Buddhism to it, by applying the four introspections, stabilization and introspection. 止观，如果是我们说止观，不是从文字，我们学佛啊，不是单是文字的般若，要观照般若。Not just a theory, you have to practice it and apply it. You must know how to apply it, not just memorizing the words. 文字般若不够，有观照般若才行。Okay, I would like to answer questions now. Yesterday, you share the thought about happiness. expectation and live together. If I decide to stay together with my families, my parents, my in-laws, could you kindly share with us some good methods to avoid conflicts? Good question. Well, it's a very good question. I like all questions. I like all questions. I don't filter these questions. I like to answer all of them. Yesterday I said, most of the problems, most of the mental afflictions, or most of the emotions come from family problems, more than company problems, more than job problems. Because you can quit your job, you cannot quit your family, unless you divorce. But even divorce, if you have children, there's still a link in between it. So we have so many problems with family. How do we resolve this conflict? And let's find out why we have conflicts, why we have problems. Because two things. In the Chinese language, 一个是指望，一个是同住。Expectation, 同住, living together. Family members, they all have different expectations. Why would there be an argument between the husband and wife? If the wife's character and personality is different from the husband, if the wife wants more materialistic items of life, and the husband is only making $1 million per year, which is a lot of money, the wife still would feel unhappy because all her friends, their husbands are making a few millions, and my husband is only making $1 million. She feels very unfair, unhappy, and that's the reason why. Because the wife have a higher expectation of the husband, but husband is already performing good enough. So because of expectation, they always have this conflict. The wife is unhappy, even though they are very well-to-do. So expectation. Why would the son, a 24-year-old son in university, always have argument with the dad, with the father? The father wanted the son to go in medical school, want to be a doctor. The son does not want to be a doctor. He wants to be in IT. They have a conflict. They have a different expectation. With this conflict and expectations, how can they live together happily? You got to lower your expectation. Match your expectation level. Don't expect too much. The sons and the daughters are always expect the mom and dad to provide more material for them. And even if the mom and dad passed away, they expect the estate to be given to them, most of the portion given to them. They start to have an argument. All this has come from expectations. Lower your expectation. Tolerate a lower expectation. When you get married, you have to think about it before you get married. Not everybody can be a millionaire. Living together, you have expectations. And then living together, you have bad habits too. Because you're living together, one is cleaner than the other. I remember I saw a commercial of a woman and a man in love. They are in love. And then one day, they went to a restaurant to have a dinner, a romantic dinner. And then the lady said, there's one thing I want to tell you. I don't look this way. Actually, I'm looking this. She brought out a spectacle, which is very thick, and this is how I look. So she's actually not wearing glasses because she wants to do good lines and everything, very beautiful, but she wants to release it. This is not how I look. I couldn't see properly. I have to wear thick spectacles so that I can see properly. This is how I look. So make sure that if we go on, you know my defects. And then the man said, yeah, this is how I look. bald-headed. This is how I look. They fell in love. They get married. They know each other's defects. They can tolerate. The expectation, people expect a lot from other people. Living together your habits. So make sure that 用什么方法？忍如红尘百浪两茫茫，忍如流河是妙方。警世歌，憨山大师。I don't know how to translate it to English. 红尘百浪两茫茫，红尘就是 dust means space. 百浪 means time, because the water is flowing. So time and space is always changing and changing. 红尘百浪两茫茫，忍如流河是妙方。Tolerate, endurance. 如果是你的家庭里面，你要不要争吵？你要忍耐啊。The hero is the one who can tolerate. 可以忍的人才是英雄。有心不开心就打就骂，你不是英雄 ，you are a coward. 忍得好的人呢，六度波罗蜜什么？布施、忍辱、持戒、精进、禅定、般若。布施很容易做。Giving out is easy to the 6 parameters. The first one is to giving out. 布施很容易，有钱我就布施，我当义工很容易。布施很难的，已经很难的了，但是也很容易。持戒呢？持戒比布施难呢。我们出家250戒、348戒、5戒、10戒、菩萨戒，我们又守戒又持戒又很难的，比布施难。第三呢，忍辱更难，忍辱比持戒更难，所以它排第三。六度波罗蜜是根据他修行的难度来排的，布施、持戒、忍辱、精进、禅定、般若。所以你要忍辱啊 ，endurance, tolerate it. If you can endure it, you are the hero. Endurance is the way to go. 当你的 when your endurance level is increasing, you're actually improving your personality.Actually, you are on your way for enlightenment. 我们在佛法，生人、法人、无生法人。我们普通的忍耐不是圣人而已，法人、无生法人。那么你忍辱啊，忍辱是很厉害的。如果我们说跟人相处用什么方法，忍辱是最好的方法。你可以忍，他骂你，你不骂他。什么是大慈大悲？观音菩萨是怎么实现他的大慈大悲的？慈能与乐，悲能拔苦。慈的意思是给人快乐，悲的意思有人痛苦，你拔除他的痛苦。人家骂你，你骂他，他快乐吗？你反骂他，你给他不快乐，你就不是慈了。慈是不骂人的吗？慈悲，你要学观音菩萨的大慈大悲吗？慈就是不令别人不快乐，令别人快乐才是慈。你现在反骂他，你令他不快乐了。悲是什么？他现在很生气很痛苦的，你不骂他，你要安慰他，你拔除他的痛苦。忍辱就是大慈大悲啊！你不要找什么是忍辱啊，你大慈大悲，慈能以乐，悲能拔苦，你可以吗？关于慈悲，关于忍辱啊，我还可以讲下去，但是我有那么多，我怎么可以讲到那么详细呢？你这个我可以再讲多一点是可以的 ，because really you need to have the endurance. The more you endure, the better you will become, the better personality you will have. If you're in a workplace where you are interacting with colleagues, if you can endure, I know. Because before I became a monk, I worked in different places too. And I found that those who can endure people, they always get promotion. They can get along with people. Those people is always temperamental. They can't get very higher level, especially the public relations manager. They always can endure. But some people can endure in the job. They cannot endure at home. They want to transfer their endurance level to home. Try to endure it. If you put up your endurance level to a high level, you are on your way for enlightenment. I already spent 10 minutes on this question, so I got to put it down. Kindly advise to manage a timetable to chanting. That is the mantra to chant in sequence on a day. That we really have to have another session. You can learn how to chant. 你先念观音菩萨的名号呢，南无观世音菩萨，或者是你学大悲咒。Why don't you learn the tyranny of compassion? 我在 YouTube 里面有教梵语的，用梵文 Sanskrit。Namo Ratna Daraya Rama Arya Balokitesvaraya Bodhisattvaya Mahasattvaya Mahagarunikaya 跟一样嘛。但是我喜欢念梵文，因为我快一点，我念的可以快一点嘛。你可以上网有啊，有时我小朋友啊，他小学的朋友啊，有时我要他念大悲咒，我说如果是你一个星期可以念到这个大悲咒背下来，我给你100块。他真的是背下来了，一个星期的把全部大悲咒背下来，梵文的背下来。你可以上网看那观世音法师怎么去念大悲咒。最近我也把大悲忏录成了2集。大悲忏不同了。大悲咒是大悲忏里面的念的一个咒。那么the timetable, well, I cannot go in depth in these questions because I don't know you. I don't know how much you know about chanting. But you can always, chanting is absolutely important because there's sound therapy. Dear Venerable, I am unable to read Chinese and sometimes feel limited by resources in English to learn more about Buddhism, especially mantras and sutras. What would you advise? I gave quite a few lectures in English too. I have a lot of lectures in English. You can get into YouTube and get the English. There are other monks who give very good lectures. I remember a monk, I always like to watch his lectures. But Bhante Panachi, excellent lecturer. He's really good. I really learned a lot from him. I forgot his first name. He already passed away. He passed away in his talk. One afternoon, he was talking and then went back to his room and then he passed away at a very old age. Well, how can I answer this? Already 9:30. When can I stop? 9:30? Should I put myself at a stoppage at 9:30? Now I still have about 5 minutes. Should I talk for another 5 minutes? Okay, yeah. 请法师开示, is it every time one doing out we must 烧香？不一定。不烧香也可以。You don't have to burn the incense. 心香一炷，你可以用很清净的心作为你的香，也可以。心里面有香。我们有戒香、定香、解脱香、解脱之见香。戒香、定香、戒香、定香、解脱香、解脱知见香，5分法身香。你的心里面有香也行啊。你持戒就是烧香，你不发脾气，忍耐香。你布施就是布施香，你不需要一定烧香的，5分法身香。Dear Venerable, when praying, must we? Some more. When praying, what must we say aloud the prayer? Thank you very much. Well, whatever is suitable for you. No matter how loud you are, the Buddha could be very far away. But the Buddha is everywhere. The Bodhisattva is everywhere. The air has had the frequency that carry your vocalization to the Buddha and the Bodhisattva. And also when you are chanting, you're not just giving the sound to the Bodhisattva, and you're also giving the sound to yourself, healing yourself, increasing your own power. You're energizing yourself. When you are chanting, you're energizing yourself. Not just in walking, exercising. In walking, exercising, you're energizing yourself, but in the chanting, you're also exercising yourself. But some people, I think it's pretty good that way. They exercise at the same time that they are chanting. In other words, they do exercise every day, right? 1 hour jogging, and he's still 南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛。一面运动一面念佛啊，也可以的，也可以的。But don't get trip on something, a stone, and then you fell. It's not my business anymore. Yeah. Dear Sifu, I am newborn to Buddhism. What chanting mantras would you recommend for beginners? You can get on YouTube and you can get a lot of information from it. I don't need to answer this question. What to expect when we leave our body? How to prepare for death? The best way to prepare for death is to start chanting now. 天天念阿弥陀佛，天天念观音菩萨，求生往生西方极乐世界。You are also training yourself for the last moment of your life. Many people's last moment is not just one moment, it's 10 years. They're lying in bed like a plantation for 10 years, couldn't move. The breath is still there. Every morning is 3 bottles of liquid. Every lunch is 3 bottles of liquid. Every night, the dinner is 3 bottles of liquid. And he lied in bed for 10 years. Don't do that. Do your chanting now. Do your chanting now so that when you have to go away, you can go away fast. 如果是你天天念佛啊，你到你往生的时候啊，你有瑞相出现，你预知时至，什么时候去你知道的，你没有病的，没有病没有痛，你就可以大业往生西方极乐世界。这个要慢慢讲了，我没有那么多时间了，怎么讲呢？好 ，last question. Okay. Dear Venerable, please teach us on right mindfulness and how should one apply to one's daily life. I just talked about it this evening. It's all in there. Some of these notes are in your handouts. So right now it's 9:30, and I have to put an end to it. And I feel very honored and very delightful to be able to talk to you, to share with you what I know, and hopefully what I share with you, that you can absorb it, consider it, analyze it, and put it to your own use. There's no point in just talking about it and listening to empty talk, and when the talk is finished, then you just put aside your handouts and do whatever you want to do. Make up your intention. 发心在佛法里面呢，最重要是发心。你发一个道心，道心不容易发的，道心发了也有很多人的改变的。他发了道心，我学佛，慢慢就改变了。所以有《金刚经》，须菩提怎么提出的？须菩提说啊，世尊，善男子、善女人发阿耨多罗三藐三菩提心，因缘何住，云何降伏其心？须菩提真是太伟大了，他发出这个问题啊，整部《金刚经》就讲出来了。他那个意思什么？他说，我们善男子、善女人呢，很多人都发心的，那么发这个心呢，会变的。人的心不断的在变呢。当我们变的时候啊，我们怎么令它不变？因缘何住，不令它变？缘何降伏其心？怎么去降服我们的妄心，提起我们的正念？应该怎么去修行啊？你问我所有的问题啊，都是在《金刚经》里面啊。为什么你不好好的、老老实实的学《金刚经》？《金刚经》里面呢，全部你的问题都在佛里面的经论里面都有你的答案，但是为什么你不去学？你还是问我这个凡夫生呢？你在《金刚经》里面，我也写了一部书叫《金刚经注解》。如果是你有兴趣，我就把，因为我以前很早的时候，我是学生的时候啊，我常常请教我的老师是妙净法师，你们不知道的了，是一个很老的法师。那么这个妙净法师，这个讲经的大法师，在这个很多年纪大的法师，他都知道妙净法师。那么他告诉我，你将来要不要讲经说法？我说我要啊，我很喜欢讲经说法。我告诉你，你一定把《金刚经》读好，你完全明白的《金刚经》啊，你 你说法就没有挂碍了，很通顺的了。那我就这样做了。我花了很多时间学《金刚经》，我还没有学通。我没有学通也可以讲2个小时，那就不错了。我还没有学通啊。那么我提议你啊，get into the Diamond Sutra。I gave talk on Diamond Sutra too in Cantonese, but not in 普通话。但是我这本书我没有带来。这本书里面我把《金刚经》20年来的看经的经验呢，都写在这个《金刚经》的注解里面。你们可以在香港戒定慧讲堂可以请得到的。在什么？书店都有的。是谁出版那部书？天地图书。香港的电话852是不是 852？ 那么你就问了，哇，那本书啊，请你寄来了，他就寄给你。如果是你说我没有钱了，送给你。我没有钱了，你可以寄来了，好，送给你，你付运费。没有理由运费要给你的吗？送给你可以的。你就是说观诚法师说可以送给我的，那么就我讲过算数。你每个人都要看的，我就送给你啊。但是运费你自己付。那你有钱你就不要送给你啦，你应该自己请就算了嘛。我们也有开支的嘛。一部书印的，这部书精装的，印得非常好的，我很满意它的印，而且字很大，里面有很多 chart and like this what you see there. In all my books, I like to give a lot of charts and pictures and summaries. You will see that in 金刚经注解、金刚经讲义。好，今天我已经I'm very delightful and I'm very happy to see you here, that we can practice Buddhism, and I hope to see you in the near future. Okay, thank you. 愿以此功德普及一切我等与众生，皆共成佛道。好。